There are three things that when I was learning Russian made a huge difference in how quickly and how easy it was for me to learn Russian. And in this video, I want to share them with you so you can also learn what they are, how you can apply them, and why they make it easier for you to learn Russian. So the first thing I did was I installed an app on my phone to learn vocabulary. And it doesn't really matter which app you choose because they all work, though my preference is Anki Droid or Anki simplified, because you can just input your own words, you can modify them, you can add sound, and it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that some of the other apps have that kind of make it more distracting. It's just quite simple. And the way I used this app was just whenever I had a couple of spare minutes, I just took out my phone and I learned a couple of words. Or when I went to the toilet, for example, most people do that a couple times a day. So if you put everything together, most people can find like 5 to 10 minutes a day to then learn words. And even if you just learn three words a day, that's 90 a month. That's if you do it for half a year, that's 6 times 90. So it really adds up, because that's 540 words that you've learned, and plenty of people will be able to find much more time like that. So if you do this consistently, it doesn't cost any extra effort, and you'll be able to really quickly upgrade your vocabulary, which will then help you speak better, be better able to understand Russian, be able to read Russian literature, and it doesn't take any extra time. So the second thing that I did that made a big difference was that whenever I found myself going somewhere, being outside, traveling, kind of like what I'm doing now, I'm just taking a walk, but I'm using that time, I just listened to audio lessons or any type of lessons that were mobile friendly, that didn't require me to look at something. So most of the time I was just listening to something. And commuting to work took me 20 minutes to there, 20 minutes back. So that was 40 minutes a day. And then whenever I took the train to my parents, for example, or whenever I was traveling somewhere by plane, these are all immense opportunities to spend a lot of time listening to Russian lessons. And you don't need to be doing this and I also didn't do this all the time. Sometimes I just wanted to, just enjoy the commute, or kind of like have my mind just relax and not have any input. But just doing this half of the time that you spend commuting or any type of other travel by car or plane will already can add hundreds of hours a year to the amount of time that you can spend learning Russian. And especially if you're taking some good audio courses, like for example my course Russian Conversations Unlocked, you'll be able to really learn grammar much quicker, because audio lessons work great for teaching grammar and also for practicing speaking and learning some extra vocabulary. Plus they're good to help you learn listening. So basically all the things that you need to cover in order to learn Russian well. And the third thing that I did was that I pretty much stopped, or let's put it other ways. I switched a large part of my English media consumption to Russian media consumption. So in practice, this meant that most of the series and movies that I watched were Russian. And also like video games, if there was a possibility, then I would just turn on the Russian sound. This worked with either with Russian video games or just with some. It's also getting more common. You can check the platform wherever you're playing video games if they might have Russian sound. And this had such a huge impact because most people spend, I'm just gonna say a number here, but at least an hour a day consuming any type of media content. And I'm mainly talking about series and movies. Now for many people it's much more. So if you then are able to even just switch half of that to Russian, you will now be able to spend, again, hundreds of hours a year or tens of hours a month on learning Russian. And this is especially important for helping you be better able to listen to what native speakers say. Because learning to understand what native speakers say is really a combination of having a good vocabulary, which you can learn with the first thing that I said in this video, and the second, it just takes a lot of exposure to hearing correctly spoken Russian speech. And the best way to do this in a way that you control the input is by watching Russian series. Of course, it's also great to have conversations, but this is not something that's inside your control, and it's kind of difficult to spend hundreds of hours within your control listening to real people have conversations. So yeah, those are the three things, and I know that if you will also apply them to your life, even if you're busy, they do not cost any extra time, and they'll make such a huge impact on your Russian skills. Alright, so if you want to learn lots of vocabulary in a short period of time, I created a list of 750 Russian English cognates that will allow you to quickly learn a lot of words that are the exact same in English as they are in Russian, and you can download them in the link in the description below for free. Спасибо вам огромное за просмотр и желаю вам хорошего дня. Пока.